Lead by example. I'm good with cooler heads, I'm good with leading by example, but I don't understand the example that's being set when we cower like 7th graders who know that somebody did something and the teacher's gonna catch them unless we stick together. What kind of example is that, guys? Really? What kind of example are we setting for our kids, for the folks we represent? You know, I know a lot of these guys, both sides. I know it's not about a heart of any one individual. Most folks are good folks. They make mistakes. You need to own mistakes and apologize for them. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monroe. I live in Batavia, New York. I don't really know anybody here except a few people from the Center for Disability Rights, but I've spent 2¼ years in Monroe Community Hospital, and I've been out now about 1.5 years. But during that time there, I met a lot of people with all kinds of problems, and up until that time, I never realized what a tough time they had to put up with what they had to deal with. But since I've been there and seen how people that end up in a nursing home seem to have to give up their dignity the minute they get there, and they're treated like a subhuman, I understand that why a lot of people here are here tonight in protest of what was said, the R word. And I really think that what's even more inappropriate than it having been said is the fact that sincere apology is not being offered. And the last woman up here started to ask individuals here whether or not they said it. And I'm not going to point fingers or accuse anyone, but I think that an apology is needed and should be given. And maybe the word when it was said was not said with ill intent, and maybe it wasn't derogatory, I don't know. But I do think that an apology should be given because it does affect these people and their families. And I think it is owed to everybody involved for a public apology to be made by someone. Because it really doesn't hurt sometimes to say I'm sorry. It just might even feel good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to be the one to follow all this drama. And someone's answerable to me as well. My topic's a little less dramatic, but is county-wide. My name is Jeff Goldblatt. And it concerns recycling. The public service announcements that the county executive introduced last month are nothing more than de facto commercials for a particular company. It's not even subtle. There's their name, their logo, and their trade dress colors. If I owned a company that competes with them, pays taxes in Monroe County, buys goods and services in Monroe County, employs people in Monroe County who I suspect you'd like to have vote for you one of these days, I turn on my television and I see my major competitor being implicitly endorsed by the county executive whose name appears at the end of that commercial, I would be less than pleased. Beyond that, there are other problems with paper recycling. Pizza boxes are mentioned. The problem with pizza boxes is oil, along with stuck on other food products such as tomato sauce and cheese. These go back to be de-inked and repulped. These items become contaminants. The top is recyclable, the bottom can be, if pizza parlors agree to put some protection in the bottom. Otherwise, this is not clean. Your commercials also do not deal with what is seen commercially, and that is waxed corrugated. Whether it's meat or vegetables. Let's read this. Coated with food-grade mineral oil, petroleum wax, or petroleum as a lubricant. Chemistry 101, folks. Oil and water do not mix when things like this get back into a paper bag. As the county's bicycle squad is very good at handing out memo pads, going to be visiting restaurants to remind people these are not recyclable. Items like that devalue the quality of the load and the quantity of money paid. I'll be quick. Damaged county recycling bins are no longer accepted by Monroe County, even though they're number 2 plastic. Why? Because, I'm told by county staff, these don't come in damaged enough. Try getting someone on community service to be issued a pair of gloves, glasses, and a hard hat to stand in the corner and let the haulers bring these back in and break them down. These will not break down in your landfill. I don't care how much sludge you pump in. And that also brings me to plastics 3 through 7. A couple years ago, the county moved 11 tons of this material. And here's the report that was sent to New York State. Sounds like a lot, it's less than a truckload full. And I know the excuse. No one's interested in those other grades of plastic. We were lucky to get rid of it. Really? And someone please explain to me why in the July 6th edition of Waste and Recycling News, over 200 firms are listed that buy, sell, and broker all grades of plastic. Can we not talk to them? Do the phones not work? Do people around here do not know how to write an RFP anymore? Plastic will not break down on the ground. I don't care how much room there is. The sludge won't do it. This is what happens when policy in this building is garbage driven and not recycling driven. You wind up getting glad tidings from someone like me. You want to see what recycling driven policy looks like? Take a look at Okra in Onondaga County. They're as much of Appalachia as we are. And that's my message.
Good evening. My name is Paul Shue. I'm the Executive Director of the Advocacy Center. The Advocacy Center has been serving individuals with disabilities in this community in various forms for over 50 years, and part of our mission is to provide disability awareness. I'm here to invite the Monroe County Legislature to better understand and take seriously the damaging effect of the use of language such as the word retard, to take direct action to create lasting change that will help eliminate the discrimination that occurs for people with disabilities. You can start by tonight, as I hope you have been, listening to the people who have been speaking who have disabilities and learn from them. Many in our community do not understand the significance of this issue. I'm sure many in our community don't understand that within my lifetime, there are people who, by being labeled retard, could have been thrown in an institution and basically treated no better than cattle. If that sounds unrealistic, look up the Willowbrook Decree. Look at what happened in our institutions in the 50s and 60s. It's one thing to accept basic misunderstanding and a lack of knowledge, but to continue to further ignorance is not acceptable, particularly by our county leaders. And we expect more, and we expect action. This should not become a partisan issue. To the extent that there are those who would like to make this a partisan issue or keep this a partisan issue, I believe that is a mistake. This is a much bigger issue than any political party. Disability does not know any political party. The effects of damaging language does not know any particular political party. What does matter is the perpetuation of stereotypes, types, and myths of people who have intellectual disabilities and other disabilities. These types of stereotypes, and using the word like retarded, creates bias that lowers the learning expectations and learning rates. It lowers the graduation rate, creates incidences such as bullying and mental health problems in people who are referred to as such. Biases also decrease unemployment opportunities. 70% of all people with intellectual disabilities are unemployed. And I'll finish briefly by saying again, this should not be a bipartisan issue. The legislature as a body should take action on this, and there's an opportunity here for the legislature to pass legislation similar to the state law that requires people first language in all of its policy and legislative actions. Thank you.
Thank you.